You can never be in saw. No. Good morning. Today is 6/5/2024. Time is now 9:01 a.m. I'm Kevin Day, Chair of the Custer County Board of Commissioners. I will call this meeting to order. If you do have your cell phones, if you could please silence them at this time, I would greatly appreciate that. And if you could join us for the pledge and for the invocation, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Let us pray. Oh God, grant us, as we convene today's meeting of the Board of Commissioners, that in all our doubts and uncertainties, the grace to ask what you would have us to do. That in the spirit of wisdom, we may save us from all false choices, and that in thy light we may see light, and in your path we may not stumble through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Kelly, can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Day,
Present.
Commissioner Campbell,
Here.
Commissioner F,
Present.
and Clerk to the Board, Kelly Camper, present.
And audience introduction. We'll start with you, Mike.
Mike Custer, BOCC admin. John Van Dorn. James Gilbert.
Brian Lockhart, NAPA supervisor. Bill Christie, former county employee.
Megan Peterson. Joy Anderson.
Robert Smith, human resources director.
All right. And I believe we've probably got a couple online. But one, VR.
Turn it off.
Oh, so we got none. That didn't even ring a bell. Sorry, Vernon.
VR, not
VR,
VR.
VR. So if anyone goes to speak later, if you could identify yourself for the record, I'd appreciate that as well. Any amendments to the agenda?
None from me.
Yes, we should maybe think about when we have executive session at the end, maybe pulling the public comment to before executive session, just so that, I mean, because we don't know how
Not
long
everybody
executive
will be
session.
here for the, I would be willing to do that move today.
Okay, and then Redlands Accounting Advisory is, she's busy working with getting stuff ready for the auditors. So let's, I'll move her to next week. I'll skip this week.
Okay. I'm good with that.
Are they done by next week?
I don't, they're up here this week at least anyway, so this might be the last week they're up
Be
here.
good to have, if they are, we can have a report on it.
Okay. From her, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Not a question.
Um, go ahead.
Okay, while you're amending the agenda, I was gonna suggest that on the agendas, when you put unfinished business, outline what's unfinished that will be covered. Could you add that, please?
When we have unfinished business, it is on there.
Okay.
Yeah, we already put it.
That's a placeholder. There is no unfinished business on the agenda today, so that's why there's nothing there.
Thank you.
Okay. You have the minutes from May 28th.
I move we approve the minutes of May 28th. It even helped correct some discussion.
I'll second that.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes from May 28th. Any further discussion on those? Those in favor? Signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. That motion carries. Commissioner items, Commissioner,
Getting quite a few calls about Copper Gulch Road, the paved portion from 69 to the mailbox set up there. So we probably need to address, one of the last phone calls was just right before this meeting, so it's, I know that's that chip seal road, but we probably
Yeah.
need to deal with it in some fashion.
yeah, I will get with Vince, and then timing on that will depend on when they're making oil in Canyon,
Okay. Sounds good.
so.
And then the auditors are up here again this week, Wednesday, Thursday, so. In person, so.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, that's it.
Commissioner Kanda?
Just real quick, on the TV tower deal, they are doing test runs on compatibility, so some people will be seeing both channels appear, the clear blue sky. So if you hear of anybody, they want feedback if they do intercept it. They're gonna get the signals anyway, but it would be nice to hear if somebody will pick it up.
Okay,
If
well,
anybody calls you.
yeah, I'll call one person that's been.
I have a couple favorites that I'll.
So, yeah, I'll call them and see if they're happy.
And that will take place,
It's gonna be going on for the next week or so.
okay,
We'll see.
so it'll be on for a short time. and then
Yeah,
back
as
off
they
again?
tweak things and do things, and then I know you're working on, Lucas is working with Matt to figure out the size of the air conditioner, that once they refurb that room up a little bit to make it work. It's doesn't have to be very big,
No,
and it doesn't need a heater.
no, produces enough heat.
And we need to clean out the red, I know Matt knows.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the hand gear is in there. Has anybody claimed it?
The ham radio gears,
Is it been out?
if it's still working, I'll talk to Jim Chaplin actually about that.
Yeah, we need to get whatever out of there, stuff out.
I may be using that, so.
Yeah.
I'll find out.
Okay.
I'll see who knows what up there, so.
Robin may have some information on that too, because I think that, the ham operators have kind of revitalized up there, so.
Okay,
And
I've got contact information for Clint Harper, who is the president
Oh.
of the local ham. And Jim Chapman is obviously.
Yeah, Jim.
okay. No, thank you.
And then, on that same thing, we'll have to get, they're gonna be improving the road, Bunker Hill Road, all the way up to the base of that. And then I talked to Vince a long time ago, so he reminded me. He will throw some road base over you remember the big boulders you get up there.
Mhm.
So then they can drive in a lot better servicing.
okay. And I know he was gonna get with, Silver Cliff too, because a good portion of that road goes through Silver Cliff. Okay. Went to CCI last week. I did see Mark Carmel there.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna be there at the district meeting, but, he was not there.
So I'll find out, he got involved with a lot of the broadband stuff, and they had another thing going on at that time, I don't know.
Okay. So, yeah, I thought he was gonna be there to have a little report or
That's
something.
what
with it.
he was, Lord, he must have gotten tied up, I'll find out, I haven't had a chance to close it.
All right. Had a meeting with Max Hansen yesterday. We went over some of the stuff, a couple of the items you had brought up in regards to those lots for the self-help. He's going to be sending me some paperwork in regards to the deed restriction piece, and I would like to get that put on our agenda for our workshop next week if I could. We could go over that and see if that looks adequate to address any issues that we might have, so we can move forward with that.
What day is it?
Next Wednesday,
It's after
correct?
the,
Or
it's
2
after the
weeks from
meeting.
now, right?
Two.
The workshop.
Workshop is after the meeting, one of the meetings.
I don't know. I haven't planned the workshop yet.
Oh, I thought you had a workshop already on the
No,
schedule.
no, I
I
don't.
did too.
Okay.
I can though. I can put it on the schedule.
As soon as we get a workshop scheduled, I would like to have that on, because it's something we need to do in a workshop and then address it at a meeting.
Okay, well, I'll get one scheduled.
Okay. Sorry about that. I was thinking that you had one already on the schedule.
No.
So no wonder you weren't responding over here. And then I am in the process of writing a mini grant to UACOG for that playground equipment for Wetmore.
Okay.
And if that goes through, that would reimburse us $5,000 on that.
Okay.
And then in regards to last year's on those, they are still looking, I gotta get with Tim Harmon. They are still looking for a couple of receipts from the roof on the office building.
Okay.
Had a meeting with Brittany yesterday, Brittany Pearson Canyon, on our weed situation. Got some things ironed out there, and she will be able to take care of Emma, at least in part, through the grant that she has, when Emma is shadowing her. And then she is looking at coming up probably 1, possibly 2 days a week up here. And then she will be finishing out up here sooner than she would down there, just because of our altitude and our growing season on our weeds and stuff like that. So we went over a lot of that stuff yesterday. And then it will be, Emma's will probably gonna come in at around $5,000. And I'm gonna say right at $15,000 for Brittany to be up here. And I will take that back to the weed board so they know kind of what they're looking at as well, so on their cost share.
Okay.
Are they still planning on doing the landfill?
Yes, the landfill and the gravel pit as well for road and bridge, so.
Vince told me that's done.
He got it early. They'll look at it to see if it needs it again this year. If not, it'll just go back in the rotation for next year. But if we get some that come back, they'll address that.
Before you leave, man, are you out for weed stuff?
Okay, go ahead.
I got a note from Kit Riff, he's a vet out of Mountain Shadows, who services the valley up here too. It's like, there's a weed called CICCIO, the yellow daisy looking flower, 6 to 10 inches high. And it's prominent in dry areas. And a lot of people that have small horse pastures, they think they got enough grass to grow in 10 acres, and they muck out everything except that weed's pretty tough, and then they'll eat it, and it damages liver to fatally. So that's a big deal. Probably ought to be advertised somehow from a weed point of view, for small horse farmers out here,
Yeah.
people that run a few horses or cattle.
And we need to check and see if it's on our list, if we can address it.
Yeah,
That's Sissio.
yeah, Sissio.
Could you forward that to me, please?
CEO with that, yeah, I know.
Okay, thank you. And that's all I have. Mike, do you have anything for us this morning?
I do not have anything this morning.
I wanna know when you're transitioning from Kelly, Mike. You gonna relieve her?
Yes. We are,
You have a plan?
we are, we're also, yes, we do have a plan of action. We gotta come up with the final date on that.
Okay, then we can blame you for all the ills.
Absolutely.
Okay. There's no,
I'll have-
you notice you've got a high standard to live
I'll
up
have a
to.
box right.
There has been no ills noted lately.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, no unfinished business, new business, Redlands is moved to next week. So we have the consideration of appointment to the SCRETAC, board. That is the Southern Colorado Regional Emergency and Trauma Advisory Council.
Is there a handout on that one? Let me see.
So there was an email, from Patrick Fior, he is
Oh,
going
yeah.
off. And Nona Gladback has, accepted the position.
Spell
No.
that. It's Nona?
Nona, Nona, and Gladback is Gladbach. And then,
He said he would
yeah, we need to just send
continue.
an email from the board, or probably from the chairman, to the coordinator, Brandon Chambers, stating that we approve Nona being on the SCRETAC board as a primary member. And then Patrick Fior will go down as an alternate
Okay,
member.
then I move we approve the, we don't call it the nomination of Nona Gladback to the CTAC board.
Approve the
Second.
appointment of Nona Gladback to
Second.
the SCRETAC board. Have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion on the floor to approve the, Nona Gladback for the SCRETAC board, and, Patrick will move down to an alternate member. Any discussion on that? Any public comment? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. That motion carries. So next item would be the consideration of purchasing a TANA H260 trash compactor for the landfill. Hello, sir.
Okay, so I emailed Kelly two documents, one being the customer purchase agreement from John Deere, Four Rivers, and the other is a letter of interest from United Business Bank. The total of the purchase from John Deere is $672,465. That comes with warranty of 2 years or 4,000 hour warranty. So that is what we are looking to lease, purchase. Currently, the capital outlay for the landfill has 25,000. I originally thought there was gonna be 175,000 in there, but it turns out that did not get put in there. United Business Bank is actually just basically saying for the county to put down whatever amount they want, and then the lease payment will reflect the difference of what we decide we want to put down. It's my suggestion that we probably transfer 55,000 from probably, well, I think it's in the general fund anyway, but, and that'll give us 80,000, and we'll give that to UMB for a down payment plus any of their financial fees, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then the first TANA payment, lease payment will be next year, based on the date when we purchase it.
What will that payment be?
It depends on what we put down.
Oh, that's
It, you know,
okay.
it would depend, so.
That would leave us approximately 600,000 on
600,000.
those.
That's what the letter of interest says, 600,000 from UMB.
It'd be actually a little more than that change, but not, and it's a 5% loan, looks like.
5%, yeah, correct.
Is it float?
I think it's 5. I think
It is 5, but I was
I
wondering.
think it's fixed 5.
Next
That's
statement on there
fixed.
is a fixed rate.
So that is my suggestion, because obviously the one we have is just been given fits for year, 2 years, well, since I've been 4 years, really, but, and the landfill expansion is it's gonna take place, it is gonna be approved. It hasn't been yet, but I got a letter from Jill saying that there's a few comments that they have to adjust with the engineers, and then once that's done, they'll approve it, so.
Are we keeping them the old one? What are we doing with the old one?
I don't think we'd get anything for it,
Keep it and
just keep it. Yeah.
double up
Right,
till it dies?
it's a 2020, I mean, it's already got a remanufactured motor and a transmission, so, I mean, it's just nickel and dime us. I mean, we could look into selling it to somebody, but, I mean, I don't think it'd be,
Never know.
looking at selling it, but, I mean, I don't think we're gonna get any trading value from John Deere for it.
No, and scrap isn't
Yeah.
worth much.
I think if some contractor might buy it, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, that's something we could look into, I mean, down the road.
Yeah, I would say we try to sell it, get rid of it somehow, some way, so we're not trying to maintain something, then we have to decide, let's just decide now
Right.
with getting the new one to sell the old one.
Yeah, and the lead time is about 6 months, last I knew.
6 months.
So, I mean, I talked to Chad before Rivers, and I forgot to ask him, but he said as soon as we decide, as soon as they get the, customer purchase agreement and the letter of interest, they'll order it.
Okay.
So,
How long does it take?
6 months is the last I knew.
Might run the new one for, couple weeks to a month before you do turn that old one, just to be on,
Oh, yeah.
just to be on the safe side. I seen a lot of new stuff come in that has to go back real quick.
Well, it's, from everything I've been reading, it's the best compactor on the market.
Okay.
It's got a Cummins motor,
So the payment wouldn't be due until
till
February?
2025.
First payment, it would be what month?
Probably June of 2025,
June
or whatever date we
of
decide.
a year from now.
Correct. So all we gotta do is
We
leave it
budget.
down, and then budget next year for whatever the payment is. So,
Yeah, around 125,000,
125,
30,000, whatever it ends up being.
correct.
So Lucas, where would that come from in the general fund?
Well, it come out of capital outlay.
Right.
For the 55,000, we can either, we can take it out of general fund. What
Which is
we have
capital outlay.
left there, but yeah. Or we can just take it out of general fund and move it to capital outlay, so. We'll have to do a budget amendment resolution for that. But,
Yeah, and then we can approve that, next meeting.
yeah. But we have those to do anyway, so
Mhm.
we're putting those together
Mhm.
with Lisa and some other things that we need to do to move some budgets around, both with the sheriff's department, and I've got one with tourism to do, so.
Yeah,
So we can throw that one in there and just make it all big, one big package, so. And I was planning on doing that sometime here in June. So then we can finish up the 6 month, and then in July we'll go into our 6 month budget review, so.
yeah, that'll,
Sorry,
the end of the month.
take you through another 5-hour meeting, so.
No,
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily, it'll get better and better each time we do it. Good.
But no, let's move the money and then let's decide to go through with that,
Sure.
so we have it.
I've got the original purchase agreement that I signed, and then I'm not sure, I'll call Chad Parker. I think
Motion on the floor yet, Nadine.
I'll call him and find out whether or not one of the commissioners and or Suzanne Kreider at the bank need to sign, the purchase agreement too,
Okay,
if we decide to do it.
all right, sounds good.
And then the letter of interest has all 3 of your names on it.
Okay,
I think my name is on it too, actually.
I think,
I don't remember.
Let's take our 3 off and leave yours on.
That's up to you.
no, your name's not on
you,
it.
Is
so
that
you
on
can't,
it?
you can't, your name should be on it.
Have them change the letter of interest so that my name's correct on there though,
Oh,
so,
it's not?
no.
Oh.
Take the S off of there.
Oh,
Yep,
okay. Can do.
Thanks.
that's a cough drop.
Remind me.
No, and keep us, well, I guess we'll see the letters from, CDHPE, so just keep us informed.
Yeah, so that letter, I forwarded you guys the letter
Okay.
that Jill sent me saying
Okay.
that everything's it's gonna happen, it's just wants to comment.
Yeah,
And so we've got about, 7 months,
so,
is my guess. of-
okay,
And then we could probably go back on trench, H, if we have to, and put another layer up on
Another layer
on
on
that
top.
trench too. If
What's-
we-
there's a layer about a month, maybe not quite a month.
Oh,
Depends on what time of the year it is.
depends on the time of year.
Winter time, January would be a little
Yeah,
better.
we could
story.
probably get a month out of it, yeah.
Okay,
It's filling up pretty quick. It's been busy,
okay,
so. And I've gotten surveyed, the area fill, the top portion of it's been surveyed, so I'm gonna get the survey done of the entire thing, that way, the state, if they ask, we can give it to them if they need it, or the
Okay.
engineers. The
okay,
engineers have surveyed it already,
okay,
it's just, it hasn't been staked out yet, the whole thing hasn't been staked out.
okay. And then the 5-year plan will be along with that too, so,
Correct.
okay,
Yeah, once we do the calculations, this year,
okay,
we'll get the calculations done.
all right.
So you wanting to move ahead with that?
Let's get the money moved where we need it, and then may not, I don't know, I don't care,
Before, okay.
doesn't matter, we
I
can
didn't
go
know if you
forward with it, and then
I
I
think
can
we
get
ought
the
to
money.
look at, make the resolution first, and then let's follow up.
Okay,
Okay,
so I'll get those
See what the money
resolutions
really
put
is.
forth, that budget amendment resolution.
okay. So we will not
See
have
where
any
we stand.
consideration on that today. Sounds good, and thanks for forwarding that letter from Jill.
Yeah,
Okay. At this point then, I would open it up for public comment.
This
Yeah.
subject,
Actually, we never did have a motion on the floor, so this is for open public comment, so if you wanted to speak on this one, you may.
okay. Well, I'll start with that, yes. It says that there's consideration of purchasing this compactor.
Please.
When you purchase it, is that different from leasing it? Because he's talking about, purchase.
It's a lease purchase, so basically, what we do is a lease purchase because we cannot take a loan out. So, we lease for, would be a 5-year lease. At the end of that lease, we would own the piece of equipment.
All right, and another one, regarding, road and bridge and Copper Gulch and condition of that. I want to know why Lucas is getting the calls for the Copper Gulch Road, and, because I thought you were in charge.
All three of us get phone calls for everything.
Okay,
I've gotten phone calls as well.
And we always forward it to,
Copper Gulch isn't the only road that's needing work at this time after the winter and this spring. There's a lot of roads that need a lot of work, and you can't be everywhere all at once. So, they are working on it. The chip sealed roads, to get the hot mix, that's timing all depends on when they are making oil in Canyon and when that's available. They will not fire up just for us. They have to have another project going as well. So when that happens, then we can get in and get our oil to do our patching as well.
How many roads do we have?
780 miles.
780 miles. And the budget for road and bridge is 3 million, so that's roughly about $3,800 a mile that we have in a budget to improve our roads,
To maintain.
to maintain our roads. So that gives you a little perception of not a lot of money. for each mile of road?
Less than $4,000. I mean, you can't gravel half of that mile for that money.
But you don't gravel every year, do you?
Even maintaining it.
We don't, but that's an example. You know, right now, they've got a lot of roads that, they're going in now and they're pulling all the ditches and getting that material back up, but then they need to go back in because that's got so much contaminants in it. Then they need to go back in and, cap that with new road base.
And at some point, you know, it depends, cost, you heard, a lot of money. And we gotta prioritize them. That means some people go with that a lot longer. And eventually it gets caught up if there's not enough tax or money from the state on the roads, then we're gonna have to figure out another way. That calls for a workshop, maybe we go for a mill levy on adding some money to go fix a road at some point. It's gonna be a matter of taking it to the people. It's a service that we have to, or we do another service that we don't do somewhere else and put that money into a road. But gee whiz, $200,000 doesn't go very far on the roads. And by the way, that's maintaining the road all the way to Albuquerque and back, 2-lane highway.
I have a question about the TANF compactor. I don't know if you discussed the whole need for it at a previous meeting. If you have, I'm sorry for asking these questions now, but I'm curious as to, what's the cost difference between acquiring more land versus this compactor that says it'll compact up to 10% more than without it? So for that 10%, are we really getting our money's worth, or is it better to acquire more land and just have a larger landfill?
We have a pretty good sized chunk of ground out there now. We need a compactor to compact that material in. You run into a lot of issues, if not, and you could speak to this better than I could, Brian, but when you run into, you don't get the compaction, you end up with holes, soft spots, lots of additional issues as well. It helps with the size on the fill, but that's only one of the things that the compactor does for you.
Okay. And is it typical that you fill in, say, gulches for your landfill sites, or do you also go out and create hills?
So, the area fill it's a gulch. The engineer lifespan for that area fill is 30 years. Once we fill the gulch, it'll be 30 feet above ground. That is the first stage of what I'm calling area fill. Now, there's 167 acres out there, and so there's more room for landfills, but you gotta take material from one area to cover where you're at right now. So,
We'll make a new pit later.
yeah, so, the compactor, this tandem may give us 40 years. I mean, just because it's that good of a compactor. So, it's definitely worth, in my opinion, because if we don't have a compactor, we got a dozer, and it doesn't work. So,
You gotta squeeze it down and make it.
The dozer's designed to have
Small.
low weight impact.
so,
How long do you think that our current facility will take us into the future?
oh, that's a good question. When they first did the area fill design, it was gonna be 195 years of trash. But the county would have had to have an area of land that size somewhere else to strip dirt from to cover that trash. And so we don't have that property. So we decided to cut the area fill in half for now and do the 30-year, and then maybe fill road and bridges pit in. That might be an option later down the road, after it's been remediated. So we're not quite sure what the future might bring, but for now, we're gonna be in pretty good shape.
And how long is the previous compactor lasted?
They bought it, I believe, in 1999. Yeah.
And it's 4 feet of fill material on topsoil, right? Or fill material?
So the caps all
Layer.
have 48 inches of regular material and then 6 inches of topsoil on top of the caps, so.
And that's why
Every
it
layer
takes
gets
so
a
much more
load.
material
Mhm.
from other parts.
So it would compact the lift trash and put 6 inches of cover on it, and then do another 2 feet, and then.
So that's how you create your pit for the next
Correct.
phase, is by taking that, putting on top.
Mhm.
Okay. And then what's the procurement process for equipment like this in the county?
We'll go through the finance department to purchase it, and through landfill, or through Brian Lockhart, so we'll work together to get that passed through and done, finalized. But routing through here to get purchased is the main thing, so.
Okay. I just know internal processes and procedures has come up in the past, and so I didn't know if anything had changed now that, I mean, sounds like the first major equipment we've bought since a lot of those questions come up, and so I didn't know if we now have a different process than in the past, or, yeah.
I understand. No,
The equipment's been still basically the same as what it has been, and just like here, Brian went out and got bids from different outfits, and ran those all through. And yes, sir, we have discussed it probably 6 or 8 times in our meetings, so.
We've gotten new graders,
so
bid those out. And cars.
Nadine, I'll let you go again.
Different question.
My question is, as part of this purchase, and could there be numbers run on what would happen if the old compactor got sold, or if it got scrapped for parts, for metal, anything? Just run those numbers.
well, I think we can do,
Along with, the purchase.
I think we can do that in the meantime. I think we can look at what the weight is, see what Denisio would give it
Yeah.
for us, but they're gonna have to come get it, or we're gonna have to haul it, so we'll have that cost in it as well. And then, but I would say auction it first, see who wants it,
Right.
because it may not be worth, I mean, by the time somebody comes and picks it up, shipping has gotten so expensive that people they almost want it for free, but.
I don't remember what the ton, it is, ton's like 80 a ton, isn't it, something like that right now? I don't
Right now it's 130.
130, so that machine weighs several
70,000.
tons. How many?
70,000.
30?
70.
70,000, so that's 36,000. You can multiply 36 times 100, and
35 tons.
get an idea of what the cost, what we get by junking it. And a contract probably pay more than that. We don't, we have to see what it is.
But we can't go
We don't
out
have
for
to sell
bid.
it, when we put it up for
can't-
auction, we don't have to let it go either.
Well, we can't put it up for auction until we are ready to sell it, so.
Yeah.
And we need to have a new one in place and operating
Right.
3 months, whatever you feel comfortable with, and then I'll take your suggestion on
Right.
when we're ready to let it go.
And we've made those trades on trailers before, for example, when we auction.
Anyone else? Go.
I have this printed to read from, and I'll give a hard copy to Kelly. Proceedings of the Board of County Commissioners, regular meeting December 29, 2022. Motion by Commissioner Kanda to appoint Bill Christie, me, as interim OEM director, full-time, at a salary of $4,166.67, with benefits until a new director is in place. Motion carried unanimously. Bill will start as interim emergency manager January 3 at 1 minute after noon. I received a Custer County paycheck dated 31 January 2023 for the month of January 2023. Corresponding exempt employee timesheet for that pay period number 1 was signed by me, county employee, and countersigned by my supervisor and county commissioner, Bill Kanda. For the 2-week period of February 1 to February 15, an exempt employee timesheet for pay period number 2 was signed by me as a county employee and then signed by my supervisor, Robin Knappe, who had been hired in the interim period. For the 2-week period of 16 February to 28 February, a non-exempt employee timesheet for that pay period was signed by me as a county employee. Corresponding Custer County paycheck dated February 28 was only for the first of 2 timesheets submitted for the month of February. That check was issued to me not as county employee, but a vendor. That monthly county paycheck was only for the first 2 weeks of February. For the month of March 23, I submitted a single non-exempt employee timesheet for pay period 3, still indicating on that timesheet that I was a county employee. That monthly paycheck for the month of March provided for the latter half of February, and then that paycheck also provided for the entire month of March. The paycheck was issued to me as a vendor. For the month of April 2023, I signed a single non-exempt part-time employee timesheet for pay period 4, still indicating a county employee. The corresponding paycheck was issued to me as a vendor. This was to be my final paycheck and timesheets submitted, received for my employment with OEM and Custer County. I was resigning as I needed to focus my life with my spouse as we were preparing for her interviews with medical panels regarding clinical trials for leukemia studies. I take no issue with the paychecks received, or the rates of pay, or the exempt status or non-exempt status, full-time or part-time. What I do take issue with is the reclassification from a county employee to a vendor. This reclassification occurred without my knowledge. I was not privy to any communications regarding this issue. I was not involved in any fashion. No discussions, no meetings, no telephone conversations, no correspondence. Given these circumstances, I request documentation of all communications, verbal and or written, audio and or video, where I am a topic or subject of those employment reclassification circumstances. Memoranda, conversation notations, emails, texts, telephone conversations, meeting minutes, executive session recordings, etc. for the time period of 1 January 2023 through 1 May inclusive 2023, the county will provide the following information. And this is a who, what, where, when, and why. Who was involved or who participated, who suggested this reclassification, who approved any such suggestion or motion, who made the decision. What was the justification to institute or establish this reclassification? What was the regulatory basis for this reclassification? What documented protocol, procedure, or process was in place at the time of this reclassification? Where were the locations of these occurrences of the communications concerning this reclassification? Board meeting, executive session, impromptu meeting, casual encounter, etc. When did these communications occur? Days, dates, time, etc. Why did this reclassification occur? Why was not the employee, me, included in any conversation or meeting or correspondence? This request is issued unto the Board of County Commissioners on this date in front of these witnesses. This request is from a former county employee and a current citizen, resident, and taxpayer of Custer County. Do you accept this reading and statement to provide the requested information to me, or is this a Cora request, or does this request result in correspondence and communication between attorneys?
I would state that it does fall under, per the verbiage you used, it does fall under a core request.
Okay.
So if you could submit that to us, that would be great. I would also recommend, if you have not spoken to Mr. Smith, that you get in contact with him. He may have some information for you anyway.
Yeah, and this is before your time, Lucas, and before the time of our current county attorney, and before Mike's time, and before your time.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, sir. Anyone else? Go ahead, sir.
Just quick procedural comment. I assume since you've moved public comment ahead of executive sessions, that anything coming out of an executive session then has the public comment available should anything be voted on.
Correct.
Right, yes, sir.
We wanted to allow this opportunity in case someone did
Well, tough
not
it out.
want to stick around until after the executive session.
How dare they not want to?
Anything else? Been there, done that. Well, go ahead. I'm gonna do it today. I know.
I know Cory requests can become expensive, since he was a former county employee. I just hope you give him consideration to maybe make those requests free of charge so that he can get the information that he needs.
Anything that takes an hour or less, I believe, is at no charge anyway. It's after that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kelly, it's an hour.
I don't think it's gonna be more than an hour.
So that's possible. I'm not sure what it'll look like. If it's something that will cost, I know that is put out before the information is gathered, so to see if the party wants to move on. Anyone online? Nothing there. Okay, Bill has asked for an executive session today for personnel matter for 24-6-402 paren 4 paren F CRS regarding Public Health Department. So at this time, I would move that we recess this BOCC meeting and move into executive session for that purpose. I have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, this meeting is recessed at this time. I see it lit up. Thank you, sir. All righty. Okay,
Hold on. I gotta bring up another one now.
okay.
What's the trick?
Okay.
Okay, the time is now 10:48 a.m. I'm Kevin Day, Chair of the Custer County Board of Commissioners, and the executive session has been concluded. The participants in the executive session were myself, Commissioner Kanda, Commissioner Epp, HR Director Robert Smith, and Clerk to the Board Kelly Camper. For the record, if any person who participated in the executive session believes that any substantial discussion of the matters not included in the motion to go into executive session occurred during the executive session, or that any improper action occurred during the executive session in violation of the open meetings law, I would ask that you state your concerns for the record now.
None from me, sir.
None here.
So hearing none, we will move back to our agenda. We had public comment before the executive session. Are there any additional items of business, gentlemen?
One thing I thought of, since we were talking about roads, I'd like to have you two guys ride with me to a road. Can we do that?
Which road?
Oak Creek, just for the fun of
Oh, I've driven that road
it, yeah.
more times
We
than
don't have. to
my
drive
truck
it,
wants
but
to
we can have a
drive.
quick little discussion about it after we're done today.
Mhm.
Something
Well,
to,
we can, yeah.
just to get on the same sheet, because we're all getting the same complaints. I want
Yeah.
to talk about
That's
it.
that road. It hits, a lot of traffic and too much speed, of course. But yeah.
So, and during the winter time when they had no water, they could not address a lot of
Couldn't
that
hit the-
because you can't cut it.
That's right. So
So,
we'll talk about it. I just
Okay.
wanted to give you my perspective on it and what I can get
Yeah.
since we brought it up.
Slow down, Bill.
That wasn't me. All right.
And I should too.
so, any other additional items of business?
Last week of this month, with the election that's happening, the primary election that's happening, you're gone Wednesday, I'm out all day Thursday and Friday for continuing education, so I won't even be available Zoom. Are you guys good with, not having a meeting that week? Payroll will get done regardless, AP will move to July 3rd.
We did that last time.
I'm good with that.
What date?
That'd be the 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, but it's that week. But we had a meeting scheduled for the 27th. And also, we had a Board of Health meeting scheduled for the 27th.
It'd have to be the next.
Are you okay with moving the
We can
Board of
move it
Health to the
next
20th?
week.
Or do you want to move it to the following week?
It would be the following week would be better.
Okay, so we'll move that to July 4th then. No, we can't
No,
do
I can't
it.
do it on the fourth.
So let's do the July, can June 20th work?
Let me look here. I don't think so. No,
Okay.
can't do it on the 20th.
So BOH would be when?
Let's just make it for, what's our next, the first meeting in July?
You want to do it that afternoon?
Yep.
Okay, so that would be the 3rd, July 3rd. In the afternoon from 1 to 3, and I'll change that.
At 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
So no meeting that last week.
No, ma'am.
I think I would just make a note, because we already had it on our agenda, so we don't need any motion. But we do have, this continuing personnel matter on the agenda for next meeting, for the 12th. Just a note, so that everybody knows that that will still be on our agenda. And, we will, there's a possibility to have invited guests at that.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
That being the case, this meeting is adjourned.
Public comment, sir.
We
You
moved
moved
public
it.
comment.
No, we said we would do public comment because he asked.
Again.
If there was something to
Oh,
vote on.
okay.
If
All
there's
right.
something to vote on.
Just wanna go by the rules.
Thanks for trying to keep me honest.
Well-
I would allow you to if you did have something, sir.
Thank you, Jim, for sticking around.
No, I was just wanted to know if there was any
But,
action from the executive, which there sometimes is.
no actions at this time, sir. That being the
Okay.
case, this meeting is adjourned at 10:53.